Coming up on The Last Call, Auburn makes its World Series debut, taking the field in Omaha for the first time since 1997. The Tigers just wrapped up against Mississippi State. We'll show you if they could get the win over the Bulldogs, and we'll have a live report from Sports Director Rex Castillo. That and much more is all on The Last Call, and it starts right now. Welcome back to The Last Call. I'm your host, Justin Holbrook. History was made in more ways than one this week, but we start with the Auburn Tigers in the College World Series, so let's run it back. Back in 1997, the Titanic rocked the box office. Michael Jordan won his 5th NBA championship, and gas cost just over $1. And it was also the last time Auburn was in the College World Series. Last year, the Tigers lost in extras to Florida in the Super Regionals, and they finally had a chance to get back to Omaha this week. Steven Williams has been red hot in the postseason for the Tigers, played the hero for Auburn's season against Georgia Tech. Top first, Tar Heels have walked 3 Tigers. Go ahead and make it 4. That will bring home Judd Ward. Auburn leads 1-0. Connor Davis takes the bump for Carolina, but Edouard Julien, Canada's own, knocks a single into short right. 2 more Tigers come home, and Auburn is up 3-0. Next up, Will Holland is going to lay the drag bunt down, and check out the moves. Holland dives around safely for first and adds another run. Tigers lead 4-0. Back to the top of the order, 5-0 Auburn. Ward gets all of this one. Not coming back. A 3-run bomb gives Auburn a commanding 8-0 lead. And funny enough, that was Ward's first hit of the Super Regional. Still in the first inning, Tigers up 9-0. Former CVCC Pirate Rankin Woolley gets a base knock into center field. Davis scores. Auburn scored 13 runs in the first inning, and they eventually win by a touchdown, 14-7, to advance to Omaha for the first time in 22 years.
To be honest with you, I've had the 8 teams now that I've been with that's been to a World Series. I'd probably pick 5 other teams that didn't make it as the ones that would make it. So I don't need to be into guessing things. I guess I could be a weatherman. I could probably do that.
Coming in the game, we knew they didn't have the bullpen today, and they had their best pitcher starting the game. So we wanted to attack him and pass it down, like you said, and just make a lot of pitching to him and see a lot of pitchers today. So in the first inning was a big inning for us.
Their run to Omaha has been nothing short of remarkable, partly because this Tigers team has 0 seniors on scholarship. In fact, this historic team only has 2 seniors, and neither of them are starters. And both of those seniors have played less than 2 games combined. That leaves a roster of 14 freshmen, 9 sophomores, and 11 juniors. Out of that bunch, only 1 player, Ryan Bliss, received an All-SEC award. But as Butch Thompson will tell you, this team does not revolve around a handful of talented players.
Fighting back from being maybe one of the worst teams in the SEC, one of the best teams in the SEC, says a lot about us. And just going through this whole year, the ups and downs, and be able to stay level-headed through it all is something that sticks out a lot for us.
We stand in the unfortunate space of having the least amount of scholarship aid for our student athletes. But when you see it as a challenge, you can overcome it. This club is going to Omaha without a senior on scholarship. It's incredible.
Now, before arriving on the Plains 4 years ago, Butch Thompson was a pitching coach for the Bulldogs. Thompson also just grew up 45 minutes away from Starkville. In fact, the Bulldogs starter on Sunday, Ethan Small, was recruited by Thompson. But instead of bad blood flowing between the 2 sides, Coach Thompson can only smile at this opportunity and spoke fondly of his time in Stark Vegas.
Of course, out of 297 schools, of course we're playing Mississippi State. Of course that's who we're playing. But Ethan's special to me, his family's special. You know, just all the way around the field, a lot of those relievers. I wouldn't be the head coach. I may not be sitting here if it wasn't for Mississippi State. When I first saw it, I went like, are you kidding me? And then as the time has went on, I've gotten to a deeper level. I went from level 1 to level 2, and I said, this is one of the neatest things ever to get to play Mississippi State in Omaha.
Here it is. Ethan Small has 4 strikeouts in the first 4 batters. Go ahead and make it 5. Gets the big fella Steven Williams swinging. But the 6th batter, Edouard Julien, puts a strike into this one. 2-run home run, not coming back, and Auburn scores first, 2-zip in the second. Same score, we go to the top of the 4th. Small walked a pair of Tigers, so it's back to the Canadian Julien, and once again, he gets the job done. Up the middle, Stephen Williams going to score from second, and Auburn has a 3-0 lead in the fourth. We go to the fifth. It's a tight spot for Jack Owen. Bases loaded for the sophomore pitcher, and he gets a pop-up over to Connor Davis at first base to get out of the inning unscathed. Bulldogs get a run in the sixth, and State has the bases loaded once again. Cody Greenhill comes in for Owen, and the Bull gets Auburn out of another bases loaded jam. So now it's 3-1 in the eighth. Will Holland on first. Stephen Williams, I said it, he's been clutch, does it again. This one finds the gap. Holland races to third, but he's held, so has to scramble back to third. But then the throw gets away, so Holland gets back up and goes to home plate and scores. So Auburn leads 4-1. But get this, in the ninth, Auburn led 4-1. They gave up 4 runs, and they lose on a walk-off to the Bulldogs, 5-4. Brutal. Okay, catch your breath. Still to come on the last call. I'm talking to myself, obviously. I mentioned that thing about history being made in more ways than one. Coming up, we'll show you how one local golfer made history not once but twice at the Southeastern Amateur this week. Last year, Stanton Shore became the first golfer from Columbus to win the Southeastern Amateur since 2003. And this week, his friend and former Columbus High teammate Ben Carr had a chance to do the same and possibly make history. Let's get right to that. Golf, third round of the Southeastern Amateur in Columbus. There's your leader, Ben Carr. The Columbus native was 8 under after 2 rounds in first. Great shot on 4 gives him a chance at birdie. And the Georgia Southern golfer gets it 11 under after 9 holes. Close on his trail was Jordan Duell from Columbus State. He's got a long putt for birdie on 5. Check this out. He just misses it and has to settle for par. He's 7 under and tied for third at the end of the third round. Still on 12, second to last group of the day featured James Clark III, also a Columbus High grad. He lines up the birdie putt and misses wide right. He was 6 under, tied for fourth, but he and the rest of the field were well behind Ben Carr, who made history. He shot a 61, the lowest round ever in the tournament's 90-year history, and the lowest round ever at the Country Club of Columbus, which has been open for 110 years. He was 17 under and had an 8-shot lead entering the final round. So let's get right to that final round. He had a chance, by the way, to not only break a single-day history, but a 72-hole history. He led by 8 shots. Will Chandler from Georgia trying to close the gap, sinks this long putt for birdie on 10. But on the next hole, Carr gets it back with a birdie of his own. If he pars the next 7 holes, he will break that record I just mentioned for the Southeastern Amateur. But he doesn't just settle for par. Look at this beautiful shot on 12. It rolls right back down the hill, just a few feet away from the pin. He would sink that birdie as well. Jump ahead to 18. Carr still well out in front, but in second was Columbus State's Jordan Duell. He finished 11 under. But the day and the entire 4-day tournament belonged to the Columbus kid, Ben Carr. He knocks down the putt on 18 to finish 19 under for a total of 261, which breaks the 90-year tournament record. And this win comes 3 months to the day his dad passed away.
Ever since I started playing golf, he was the man. Took me to every tournament, taught me how to play the game. He was my swing coach. You name it, he was that guy. I don't know, just kind of speechless. Like I said, March 15th, 3 months ago, was the day he passed away. So I just felt like I had a little bit of destiny on my side. There were just some putts that I just knew were going in, or some shots I knew I was going to hit well. Like, I don't know, I just knew, like, just had a feeling, and every time it worked out just like that.
His brother was his caddy, and his mom watched on as her son made history. Congrats to Ben Carr. All right, over to the U.S. Open, Gary Woodland has never won a major, but he led by 2 strokes entering the final round at Pebble Beach. And how about this chip for almost birdie on 17? Gets it right next to the cup to save par and keep a 2-stroke lead. He held that lead over back-to-back U.S. Open champion Brooks Koepka. He just misses this birdie putt on 18, which would have brought him within 1 stroke of Woodland. But it really would not have mattered. That's because Woodland claims his first major in style, sinking a long birdie putt to finish 13 under and win the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. All right, we're still serving on the last call, and up next, the next round is a good one. Our very own Shakira Speaks sits down with Callaway offensive lineman Tate Johnson, who just committed to the Auburn Tigers. You'll hear from him after the break. Central is hoping to repeat as back-to-back champs in football, but now we know they have back-to-back Division I quarterbacks. That's because today, Tucker Melton committed to Bowling Green 1 year after his former teammate Peter Parrish committed to LSU. Melton played alongside Parrish all of last season en route to a perfect 14-0 record, culminating in the school's second ever state championship. Melton is a 3-star pro-style quarterback and is ranked as the 43rd best player in Alabama. His ranking could go even higher this season, as the senior is likely to be QB1 for the Red Devils. And speaking of commitments, Tate Johnson from Callaway, an offensive lineman, committed to Auburn this week. Here is his exclusive interview with our very own Shakira Speaks.
All right, so how good does it feel to get a verbal commit out of the way so you don't have to go to sources talking to you constantly throughout the season?
It's a very good thing. I mean, to commit before the season was a big thing for me, so I can, get the whole college recruiting thing out of the way and focus on, my team and their needs first, and just leave all the recruiting behind, because recruiting it's a busy process, and just get it out of the way, it's good.
It is a lot. So you had 20 scholarship offers. How did you narrow it down to your top choices?
For me, a lot of things went into deciding where I wanted to go to school. Just feeling comfortable at a school was the biggest thing for me. You can go to a school and feel right away, comfortable, not comfortable. It's just kind of a vibe feel, and it's different for everyone. So, a family atmosphere was huge for me. A great coaching staff that's the same when they're recruiting you versus when they're coaching you. And a big-time program, getting to play and compete, with the best in the nation was big for me too.
So Auburn showed you all of that on their visit. How did they make it feel like a family environment?
Just the coaches. I mean, the coaching staff is phenomenal. You can really see it when they're recruiting you. They don't change their personality, their style, when they're talking to you versus when they're coaching their players on the field. They're the same guys. It's very authentic. It's very genuine, and that was very attractive for me, and it's very obvious at Auburn.
So speaking of a family environment, you're going to get to play with your former teammate, Keandre Jones. How does it feel to know that you're going to have somebody that you know on the team?
It's a blessing, I mean, me and Keandre have been growing up together, since we were young, playing football together since we were young. And just to have that bond already on the offensive line going into, a college team is going to be very great. And it's just a blessing to be able to continue to play with him, and I'm very happy about that.
Central's Javion Cohen is going to be playing with the Tigers as well. I know that you guys get to play each other a lot. Now you're going to get to play next to him. What does that feel like?
Javion's a great guy, man. I've gotten to know him really well over the whole recruiting process. We kind of get close with him. He's a great guy and very, very athletic offensive lineman. And he's going to be a force in college, so it's a blessing to be able to play with such great talent like that on the next level.
So you're going to be leaving to go to Auburn in December. Coming up. There are other guys like Bo Nix and Joey Gatewood at quarterback. How scary can those Tigers be on offense in the future?
Oh man, those guys are crazy good. They're just great, phenomenal football players, and having them. We're trying to build a great offensive line to protect those guys, just so they can make their plays. And when we're able to protect them and they get let loose, I mean, it's great things are going to happen. And I feel like we're going to do great things at Auburn.
So what do you want other defensive linemen in the SEC or the ACC to see when they line up against you? What is the one thing that you want to come through their mind?
I want to be feared. I want to be feared. I like that. I like when I line up against someone and they hate to put their hand down against me. They don't want to do it anymore. After the first few drives, they're just tired of it. They tell the coach they don't want to go in this drive. But yeah, I just want to be feared. I want to be respected by all my peers, and I work very hard to achieve that.
Now, I read that Florida State and Georgia Tech was one of your other top choices. What is it that you want them to see, knowing that you picked Auburn? How do you want them to know, like, man, we missed out on a good one?
I mean, those schools they're great schools, great staffs. I love those schools, but at the end of the day, there's just certain deciding factors that led my heart to want to go to Auburn.
Congrats once again. Over to Arena Football. Lions have lost 3 in a row, taking on the New York Streets. Yes, that's the real name. Early first quarter, Luke Collis drops back and finds Chris McCullum Sanders his 12th touchdown of the year. Lions lead. New York answers, so back to work for the Lions offense. About midway through the first, DeAndre Brown goes up the ladder for this tutty. Lions 14-7. The Columbus defense gets a big stop on 4th and goal. Collis trying to take advantage of that, and he does just that. Hits Paris Mack for his 3rd touchdown pass of the night. That was more to come, too, 21-7. New York is able to get one back, but Columbus, their offense, which has been spotty all year, was excellent. Collis to Bones Bagante, and they're going to be having a few more beverages like that one because the Lions win 68-55, first win since May 11th. Football camp in Auburn went down yesterday. The Tennessee Titans linebacker played at Auburn High before playing for 4 years at Alabama, where he won 2 national championships. Evans was taken by the Titans in 2018 with the 22nd overall pick in the first round. Last season, he played all 16 regular season games and totaled 53 tackles. He took part in drills with the kids and had this to say about why it's so important for him to come home and offer this free camp.
You know, I'm in the position that I am now. I got the opportunity to come back and give these kids some, some knowledge that they wouldn't normally get from the average person. So just the fact that I had this opportunity and being able to come back to my hometown, which, I was born and raised. I've always loved to, give back to the community. I feel like this is one of the best ways. And number one thing that as far as starting to get back to the community, I'm going to do it right here with this camp.
You can hear more from Rashawn on our website, WRBL.com/sports. Still to come on The Last Call, we take a look back at the Braves' week in review and show you how Atlanta took first place for the first time this season. And no promises, but we might have Rex Castillo live. As I mentioned off the top of the show, Auburn lost a heartbreaker to Mississippi State. They led by 3 runs heading into the 9th, but they lost 5-4. So with that, we turn to Sports Director Rex Castillo, who is live in Omaha. Rex, the only question is, what happened, man?
Guys, an unbelievable night here at TD Ameritrade Park. The Tigers had a 4-1 lead going into the bottom of the 9th. Now, they followed the game plan perfectly. They attacked the strike zone. They wanted to pitch contact, and the Bulldogs, extremely dangerous batting order, usually stay quiet, but then it exploded in the bottom of the 9th just when they needed. That team came back 27 times this season, the most in D1 college baseball, but they did it for the 28th time tonight, knocking in 4 runs, 2 of those runs with 2 outs at just an incredible rally because this Dogs lineup from top to bottom, led by Jake Magnum, is one dangerous lineup from 1 to 9. And unfortunately, things just didn't bounce their way. Auburn dropping now that game 5-4. Now Auburn will have to play Louisville in the losers bracket on Tuesday, starting at 2 p.m. Central Time. A lot of this blame, fairly or unfairly, is going to fall on Edouard Julian, who actually started scoring for the Tigers with a 2-run monster bomb, 429 feet, but then missed on 2 key plays. Once in the 7th inning, trying to turn a play down second, and then in the bottom of the 9th, missed a throw to first that would have ended the game. He could have either tagged the runner or thrown the runner out at first, but unfortunately, that's what happened. And that's how baseball is sometimes. Now, when we spoke to Edouard in the locker room, we'll have this sound for you on WRBL.com and on our Facebook page. He was dejected, of course, but he's trying to stay up and keep his head up. We also spoke to freshman Ryan Bliss, who's from Troup County High School. He immediately said, look, we love the guy. He started the rally. He's the guy we want on this team, and he's one incredible player. So it looks like the Tigers just have to bounce back. The back's up against the wall yet again, but we know that this team can actually do that yet again. Did it against Game 3 in the Super Regionals, but we'll see what happens on Tuesday when they play Louisville at 2 p.m. Central Time. Reporting in Omaha, Rex Castillo, WRBL Sports, on your side. Justin, back to you.
Just a tough blow for that Auburn Tigers team. Get some sleep, Rex. All right, last week the Braves dropped 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh to the struggling Pirates. But Atlanta bounced back, winning 3 straight games in Miami, and then came back to Atlanta for a 7-game home stretch. Once again, the Braves took on the Pirates, but this time Atlanta jumped out to a 2-0 series lead, and with sole possession of first place within reach, the Braves relied on who else but their young stars. Austin Riley smashed a game-tying home run in the 9th, and in the 11th, Ozzie Albies scored Riley from first base into the gap, and Atlanta once again beat the Pirates, but more importantly took the top spot in the NL East. Another 1-run win over the Pirates gave Atlanta the 4-game sweep and plenty of momentum heading into their 3-game series with the Phillies. The 7-game win streak looked all but over But with Philly leading 8-4, Atlanta came all the way back, and who else but Brian McCann hit the walk-off game winner in the 9th to complete the comeback.
I'm overcome with emotion right now. I mean, this is everything to me. So to be able to come through in a spot like that, get the win, I mean, it's huge.
The 8-game win streak was snapped on Saturday, but today a 15-run day gave the Braves the series win, and they now have a 2.5-game lead in the division. All right, last on the last call, we have Layla and the Blues. No Sunday blues for either one of them, as St. Louis won their first ever Stanley Cup in more than 50 years. On Wednesday night, the St. Louis Blues brought home their first ever Stanley Cup after defeating Boston in Game 7. While the Blues were the worst team in the NHL during the winter, 11-year-old superfan Layla Anderson was battling a life-threatening immune disease. As the Blues season turned around, so did Layla's prognosis. The Blues invited her to several playoff games, including their Game 7 clincher. After the game, Layla was brought down to the ice, where she shared the moment with her favorite player and their favorite team, holding the Stanley Cup and giving a big old kiss. That is awesome. Congratulations to them and to Layla. And thanks so much for watching The Last Call. Same time next week.